they were booing me out of the building. Natty was like, blonde, what? Let me put my Louis bag down real quick.
Doudrop Malfunction on Raw.
Dude, that moment devastated me.
First ever SmackDown Women's Champion. Have you heard of this rumor?
Yeah, I have. You already know your crap brings that drama.
Welcome everyone to Ring the Belle. This is DS and I'm here.
Yes.
Oh my god. For the evolution.
Yes.
For the stylish.
Yes.
The elegant. The eternally beguiling.
Oh my gosh. Bringing it all.
Yeah. We're here with Eva Marie.
Yes.
And we're in this beautiful Hopeaholics Podcast studio.
Yes,
and
I
of
know.
course,
Thank you so much for coming all the way out here, doing it here. Like, amazing. This has been in the works, y'all. I had probably had purple hair at the time when we were trying to make this magic happen.
Different hair colors ago.
Yes, different hair colors ago. So finally, everything aligned, and now my boy is here.
We're here for it, yeah. I'm so excited because your career is so unique.
Right.
Yeah. So
I don't think there's going to be ever another one, like, from the jump, honestly.
All the way from the start.
Yes.
The way you started with the Diva Search.
Yeah.
And now with those
Yes.
Diva stands, when we think of Diva Search, we think of that televised Diva Search from
Oh,
2004
right.
to 2007 or so. So what was this Diva Search?
Okay, so it was basically like a casting call.
Oh.
So a lot of the girls that were there were like thousands in Los Angeles at the WWE HQ.
And they called it a Diva Search.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. And what was the process of
So the
being
process was, it was multiple callbacks. Here's a mic, now go announce something.
Oh, got it.
Like,
okay.
as if pretend like you're announcing somebody coming to the ring or something like that.
Oh.
There was another callback, and now this one was like nitty gritty, where you're standing in front of Triple H and like other really big decision makers in WWE, and that was like really nerve wracking because that's when you're getting like a million different questions
Wow.
by amongst all of them, and you're on camera, and you're standing there like, hi, please pick me. I really want this, you know? And then the last one, so then they boiled it down to, I believe, when it was all said and done, 16 or so, that we made it to the last round.
Wow.
And that was a 4-week in-ring physicality tryout. See if we can handle the ring.
That was a grueling process.
It was amazing. I will never forget it because that's where, like, you know, I met JoJo because we were in the same class. I remember stepping in because soccer was my sport. Like that was really my ultimate dream, was to be a professional soccer player, and then tore my ligaments, and then that's kind of like that dream kind of fizzled out. But the moment that I stepped in the ring, because it was so foreign to me and so different and something that I had never done before, I fell in love with it because it just brought back all of the things that I was missing in my life, like the competitiveness, the camaraderie of being amongst kind of a team, essentially, even though we were all kind of trying out per se, because it was only to get a developmental deal.
Yeah.
It was never to do what JoJo and I ended up.
Yeah, right.
God, like, thank you, God, for making that happen. But it was really only to get to NXT.
So how many people got signed from there?
4 of us.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And then it ended up being 5 because CJ ended up being part of that class too. She ended up getting picked up like a couple weeks after the initial 4.
Okay.
So that was when you learned how to like run the ropes. That was the first time I ever took like a bump. I remember my body being so sore.
Yeah.
I could not even like lift my legs.
Wow.
At all. It was insane, but I like loved it so much. Me and JoJo ended up getting told that we can come together, so I picked her up from her house, and we had this feeling like, because you kind of know like how well you're doing as like things progress, especially how the coaches are to you, and we both kind of had this like a good feeling, and we clicked right off the bat, and we walk in together, and we both got developmental contracts, and that was it. That was just literally like we were so over the moon, so excited, and we were like, okay, we have a couple weeks to basically get our lives in line, and then we're moving to Tampa, Florida, and then starting to the whole process of learning how to wrestle, figuring out your personality, all the things and all the bells and whistles that go into actually being a true blue WWE superstar or character, and at the time diva. And then we get a call, or I get a call.
How?
Couple weeks.
Couple weeks. Okay.
So it was quick. So like the timing of everything was so insane, and it was so perfectly aligned because originally WWE they had the works of doing Total Divas. However, they were originally going to go with 2 girls from NXT. So I think that was really the play of what they were going to bring up to the main roster, you know, with like the twins and the Funkadactyls and then Natty. I don't know who threw the curveball. I don't know what made them decide to not do that. But then all of a sudden, since a new class of developmental girls were coming in, they were like, you know what? Let's throw a wrench in it and let's see if we like the personalities of 2 of the girls out of this class, right? It would be a good kind of mix-up because these girls don't know how to wrestle. They're not from the business. And I think whoever decided that was probably smart because any reality show does well with conflict. So
yeah, I was gonna say
having 2 girls just immediately like out of so green, so fresh is going to cause conflict no matter what. So having girls coming from NXT, you're not going to have that initial because you have a known respect because you know the business. You know that these girls have been grinding for a minute. So them coming up to the main roster wouldn't be such a massive conflict.
Won't be the drama that they're looking for.
And you already know your girl brings that drama.
So that happened in 2 weeks. Wow.
Yeah, so I remember going into Buena Murray Studios in Los Angeles. I sit down in like a green screen, kind of like how we set up like this, just talking to the producer, Russell, and he's asking me a ton of questions just about my family, how I was raised, my upbringing. It was probably like a 3.5-4 hour. And then when I'm done, he goes, just so you know, if this goes your way, and because this project is, I can't tell you what it is, we're moving really quick, so things can change for you within the next like 48 hours. And I remember like it's literally only happened to me probably like twice in my life, and I'm ready for God, you to make it happen again. I remember calling Jonathan at the time, and I said, I'm killed that. Like, killed it. And that was a Friday. On Saturday, I got the call saying, you're picked and you'll be on a flight on Monday to WrestleMania.
Wow.
And that's how quick it was. And they mentioned something about dyeing my hair blonde on the phone call, but I was so in like shock that I didn't care. I was like, whatever. Like, dye my hair, like, what? Blonde? No problem. And so then my first day on the job was like landing for WrestleMania in New York, which is like insane.
I love that you mentioned the blonde part because we all saw the first episode of Total Divas, the birth of all Red Everything, which was so iconic. And like, it's funny now looking back, it looks too good to be true in the sense that like, first of all, like who would have guts to say like, you know what? I'll actually go with red. But second, it almost like you were born to be redhead because it looked so good on you.
Thank you.
Like the brown hair almost looked like unnatural because the red looked so good.
That's another thing that was so one. I look back and I'm like, wow, clearly I had some balls because to go against the grain. One, I understood like the reasoning why they wanted me to dye my hair is because at the time the girls that were there previously were like either platinum blonde, like Kelly, Maurice. They had left, so now the roster was primarily like just dark haired, which is crazy to look. Think about this. If you go back to when I started, nobody had colored hair. Not one. Not one.
And after you, it's now, like colored everywhere.
Dude, it's like a Crayola box. So, which is amazing. So I understood why they were like, you know, we would love for you to dye your hair blonde, especially because of the Bella twins too. And they're Mexican-Italian, I'm Mexican-Italian, and then I'm the new girl. They didn't want like, you know, people to not know who was who, right?
And Natty was like, ooh.
Oh, I know. Natty was like, blonde, what? Don't let me take, you want to take out these? She's like, let me put my Louis bag down real quick. I'm about to go. But yeah, I love Natty. Shout out to Natty too. My mom's a hairdresser, so the thing is, I played with hair color since I was a kid. Like I wouldn't let her do it, so I would just take her hair dye and then do it myself. And I was blonde. I tried to take myself blonde in high school, and it was horrible. Like for whatever reason.
So you tried it already,
Yes. So my skin tone. That's why it's funny and iconic for me because I'm sitting in that chair and I literally said like I look like what did I say?
Mufasa.
Yeah.
Mufasa, yeah.
Yes. Then I was listening to Rihanna's album Loud, and that's on that cover. She has that crazy red bright hair, and I was like, let's go Rihanna red.
Wow.
And then that will just birth the whole nother beast.
History-making moment, yeah. I love how like you were just thrown into this like madness because I still remember your first Raw promo where like, my name is Eva Marie.
And I'm here to make a name for myself.
I love it.
Oh my God. No, this is horrid. Okay, first of all, any sport, right? You're gonna have like hazing, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like you have
Initiation of time, yeah.
So in this instance, it's a whole nother ballgame because this is live television.
Right.
This is my first time stepping out, doing anything.
Right.
You would think someone would tell me what to do, right? No one told me anything, and then I'm like, I can't slap Jerry. Like, I don't know how to do that, right? Because I didn't want to hurt him either.
Right.
So I'm like, no one wanted to help your girl out. So I, to this day, even shout out to Bayley because she likes to clown me about my slap because it's horrible. Because you can tell that I'm like trying to like kind of not really hit him. You know what I mean?
When did they tell you that you need to slap him?
Right before going out there because
Oh my
the
God.
promo was actually going to be different. I think the twins were supposed to speak primarily the majority of it.
Okay.
And then, as I'm sure a lot of your viewers know, in WWE, scripts and storylines get changed on a
time.
dime.
Yeah.
And you got to be ready to kind of just roll with it. And a lot of the time, it's so nerve-wracking because they'll get switched up right before like walking out.
And they did that on you, on your first, first moment.
First moment.
And from this to being in that controversial pipe bombshell segment, that's to this day, it's one of the most controversial segments of all time. Fans still fight about it.
What?
Saying like AJ was right, Bellas were right. They're still fighting about it to
yeah.
this day, which is crazy.
That is crazy. That was like wild.
Yeah.
That was a wild ride. That was just insane. I was very much trying to absorb everything that was going on because trying to learn the business and then trying to also learn the locker room and trying to understand like all of the ins and outs of what was really like transpiring.
Wow.
And then live television and then kind of experiencing the pipe bomb like in real time. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Because I don't think that was on the script. You know what I'm saying?
But you were like so supportive to Bellas right next to them. You're
Yeah.
like, say it to my face.
Yeah.
They're like, yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, I know. I rode for them too. Yeah, it was funny. It was almost like us against you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
I mean, you also had the feud with AJ too.
I did.
You defeated her multiple times.
I know.
How was it
Crazy.
like working with AJ?
You know what? She was actually fantastic because looking back, I have to give a lot of love to any of the girls, especially working with me out the gate because they didn't know who I was until after obviously, you know, me being there for a little while and them getting to know me as like a person and not like the Eva Marie character. For them to have the patience to be willing, gracious enough to kind of guide me through a lot of the things that we did or any of the work that we did together is huge because that's hard, you know, especially when you're at such a high caliber and a high level, and then to also have to, in a sense, dumb it down for somebody that literally had just weeks previously learned how to take her first back bump. Like, that's kind of insane. So I really appreciate it, and I had a great time. Like, she was awesome and really easy to work with.
It's interesting to think about because when the pipe bombshell promo happened, like the crowd was kind of with AJ, like, oh my god, this Total Divas,
Yeah.
whatever. But like now looking at the wrestlers, now there are multiple female wrestlers that got interested in wrestling because of Total Divas.
Totally.
The influence is so big.
And I think at the time, it was just considered like, oh, this reality show is going to flop, right? And have no impact on what they think it's going to. However, I think it did totally the opposite because it opened up the doors for so many people. And even to this day that I have come up to me talking about Total Divas is wild because women weren't really into WWE or didn't know of it or weren't thinking that much of it at the time. So having it on E, which is huge, and then also I can't remember if we were either the lead-in show or right after the Kardashians, but obviously the Kardashians being such the number one show at that time too really helped keep viewers for us because then it's like, oh, what are these girls up to? You know, it's like they're wrestling, but there's kind of drama, but then like they're crying too. Like, what's happening? I mean, there's so many girls that are like, oh my goodness, wait, I want to try that. I can do that. And then the fact that you can be strong, beautiful, and athletic all infused into one. Like, you don't have to kind of conform into any box. You can just be whatever that is huge.
And I felt that palpably as a fan. Like, you can see the crowd, like the gays and girlies. we were showing up.
I love. Like, I ride for you all for sure.
And that was Total Divas power.
Yeah.
But you know, the Total Divas, some of the most memorable moments has to be the drama.
Oh yeah. For sure.
My favorite, of course, was a Summer Rae slapping Natty.
Oh my god, that was wild.
But the other really memorable one has to be the Eva versus the locker room. What's your thought on that now looking back?
So it's really wild because obviously now I'm like obviously far removed, and myself and all the girls have a really good relationship now. However, at the time, heartbreaking. Like, it was really difficult because I felt really kind of like ostracized, but then I understood also why, because I understand their position too. I always refer to everything as like a team sport because that's really what I grew up doing. And if you're in a locker room and then all of a sudden this new person comes in, you know, and they're not only are they brand new, but like they literally have no idea how to do what I've been doing for years, and now they're essentially on live television that I've been working my ass off to get to, I'm going to have some type of animosity and some type of, whether it's, people want to call it jealousy, envy, whatever it is, all those like negative emotions towards that individual, 100% understand. However, anybody out there, if opportunity comes, you better take it.
You'll take it,
because if you don't, the guy next to you will. And so it's like you'd be a fool to say, "Oh no, it's okay. You go ahead because you deserve it." But like, if you really think about it, nobody deserves anything. You have to be able to recognize kind of emotions run really high, and especially at that time too for the divas, it was a doggy dog because they weren't getting a lot of TV time. The matches were like 2 minutes. At WrestleMania, the Bellas and the Funkadactyls, their match, and they were just valets at the time, it got cut.
That's crazy.
So it's like, that's where it was. Everyone there in that locker room at that specific time is also fighting for TV time. Having another girl come in, and then you think that all of a sudden they're going to give her TV time, you know, it's going to be able to ruffle some feathers. But for me personally, it was like a hard pill to swallow. Fortunately for me, it ended up working out way later after they, you know, I mean, I went back to NXT for Pete's sake.
Right.
So it's like, I think, you know, that obviously showed a lot too, but in that like particular moment, I'll never forget it because it was just, you feel super defeated.
Watching the show, I mean, obviously it probably happened like a year before, but then you see the stuff that you haven't seen in the confession and all of that. Did that like add to the heartbreak, or like did that explain the situation more?
It definitely, probably for sure adds to the heartbreak. You have no idea what people are really saying. And so then you get to kind of see some true colors come out that you're like, wait, what? That's just the nature of the beast. And it's one of those things where communication in every relationship is key.
Yes, that's so
important. And to
important.
really let people know like how you feel or where you're coming from. And a lot of times people don't want to do that because you have to be vulnerable.
Right.
And that's a scary thing to do.
And you went to NXT, like you said. And what was behind that decision?
So I'm a Virgo. I am a perfectionist, and I was really thankful for the position that God gave me, like out the gate. However, I didn't have the time to really hone in my craft at all because I was on the road, and then you don't really have the training time in the ring. We were filming Total Divas too, so any free time I was filming Total Divas.
That makes sense.
So it was like the time to actually train in ring was very minor. I wanted to do it for myself, essentially, because I loved WWE, I loved wrestling, and I felt for myself, I know what I can accomplish, which obviously is one of those things that obviously still haunts me to this day. I would love to say that I was champ, you know, and to have the title and have a massive title run, or a massive storyline, because if you look at my career, really, I never really had like a huge storyline, like a massive one that was like continuous for months. Right. You know what I'm saying? I've had great ones. Like when I was in NXT, one of my favorites is me and Bayley.
Well, I was just going to talk about that because it is my favorite match.
I mean, out of control.
This is such a good match. I think this actually changed a lot of people's perspective on you because you were going to NXT doing these great fun matches.
That's when I really learned like the psychology of wrestling too. Bayley, Pam is the shit. She is not only just like an incredible human, but talk about somebody that understands like psychology with wrestling, able to break it down, able to teach me. I mean, she took me under her wing and was like so amazing to work with. And then plus, do you guys remember Tyler Breeze?
Oh yeah.
He was amazing. His psychology is fantastic too. Like, this was my favorite because the crowd was so invested into this entire, like, they had no idea what was happening, where it was going, who was going, like, and that's when I really learned, like, how important storyline and, like, the psychology and giving fans, like, that run of emotion. Which way is it gonna go? Oh my god, like, get her, you know what I mean? That was really, really fun to me.
Crowd reaction, like you said, was wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
You were getting some crazy reaction, which was awesome. But also, it's a smaller arena, so you can hear everything they're saying. What was your reaction to, like, hearing all that?
Amazing. I think the first time that I went out there, I was having to do a promo, and it was wild. I remember I didn't even have to do the promo down in the ring. It was just on the ramp.
Yeah.
I sat there and waited because they were booing me out of the building.
Wow.
It was wild. But that is literally everything. And that's why, like, I will forever be grateful. The WWE Universe ain't no one like them. No one. Ride for you or the opposite, which is great because, honestly, entertainment. So you want the crowd to be invested, however that is. Like, if they want to boo me out of the building, that's amazing. Like, I remember Norman Smiley was like, honey, if they aren't saying nothing, that's when you gotta worry.
Right.
Because initially I remember when my first reactions of, like, getting booed out of a building, I was like, why? I want everyone to like me. I'm here for all the right reasons. I love it. I've worked really hard. It was just a shock, and it was so new, and I was just learning and all the things. And so having people like that, Pam especially, that's why I'm so happy for her, where she's at in her career and what she's done, and was able to come back from her knee injury and everything, because she's outstanding. She's like an outstanding human.
You were like one of the heat magnets. Very few women can grab that kind of reaction from people, like maybe Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah. That's a compliment. Thank you. Yes, I'll take that.
It was really awesome. But also, there was a moment that fans lost their mind when this happened, because this was time when Asuka was having 900 plus days of streak. They don't talk about this because
yes, ma'am,
gave her a loss.
Right?
Eva Marie.
That's right. Nobody likes to talk about that one.
They're just like, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, excuse me. Hello. I got her.
Right.
Like,
wild. So Asuka needs a challenger. It's Eva Marie.
Right?
Alright, so I know we all love talking fantasy matches, doing match predictions in the comment section all the time, but you know I'm reading all the comments. But what if you could actually win some chingle cash based on your takes? And that's where today's sponsor, PrizePicks, comes in. PrizePicks is the best place to get in on real money sports action. And I know sometimes it sounds really technical and really complicated, but no, it's actually super easy. You just pick more or less on a few player stats, and boom, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. So right now I'm looking at the lineup and thinking more on my Zaddy Shohei Ohtani's home run this week, because, you know, he's always a home run in my book. What do you think? Time to lock it in? And the best part is you don't need to be perfect to win. PrizePicks invented the flex play, so even if one of your picks don't hit, you can still double your money. So download the app today and use my code Ring the Belle to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup, and you do not have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. That's right, $50 instantly with the code Ring the Belle on your first $5 lineup. So what are you waiting for? PrizePicks, run your game. The finisher that you developed during this time, like, I love that finisher. I mean, you doing that at WrestleMania,
I know, that was pretty awesome.
Reaction. People were eating up.
I know.
So how did you come up with this finisher?
Well, it's Brian. It's basically like he essentially, like, let me have it because of my training. I had trained with him for a little time in LA. I mean, that obviously I showcased a little bit on Total Divas, which I think sparked a lot of, like, the conflict too.
Right.
That's kind of how that little finisher kind of even came about, which is crazy because I honestly probably don't think that that's what I would have came up on my own. You know? I don't know. I felt like when I initially saw it, I was like, no way. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And then once we did it, I fell in love with it.
People were like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know,
Wait a
right?
minute.
Like, what? I know. It. Yeah.
Do you think your in-ring skill, do you think it was underrated among the fans? What do you think?
I think when I came back. So when I came back, I think for sure.
From NXT?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I feel like I've prided myself a little bit on being self-aware. And so initially stepping out there, it'd be insane if I said that I was like a Natty or, you know what I mean? Or Becky or Paige or those girls, because clearly no, that's like literally impossible because of the years alone.
They've been doing that
right?
for decades. Yeah,
totally. So I think initially, like, fans were probably absolutely correct. A lot of times I was doing things for the first time, like on television, which is wild. But when I went back to NXT, I definitely was starting to feel it, you know, and get into the groove of, oh, okay, if I had only started sooner, or like something like that, you know. But you know what? It's okay, because that's just like how things were supposed to play out.
And the thing is that you came back from NXT, but then you actually didn't get to have a singles match in SmackDown.
I know.
But that character, though, that was probably one of my favorite characters like ever.
Really?
Because how amazing was that character? You like had excuses every week.
Dude, I was dying. And that's what was so crazy. Is like I was so ready. I mean, I ate it up because if anything, it was so obnoxious that it just increased the heat times a million, because a lot of the stuff was like so absurd. But I also remember like being kind of ready for like an actual like let's do this. Those were funny. Like I think one of them I was like stuck in traffic.
Right.
One of them my top like fell off. One I hurt my hamstring.
Which went viral? The top.
Yeah, I know.
You know what's so funny is that I was working at WWE at that time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then when your wellness policy happened,
Oh
I
my
was
God,
like, is this a gimmick? Like,
I know,
even
seriously.
the people working in the company were like,
I thought it was too.
we were not sure. It was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, she's gonna not do a match because of this. But then it turns out it was real.
I mean, what was crazy about that to this day is still bizarre, because I mean the fact that WWE allowed me like to put out my statement the way that I did, because it was all paperwork, because they totally knew for sure everything was documented from like my doctor. That's why I thought it was a gimmick. Like I thought it was like, yeah, that moment devastated me. That was a moment that I think that I would never want anyone to experience, because I had come back and I remember it was like such a huge match, and it was like getting promoted, and it was 6-man, and it was like almost basically me coming back onto the scene. And then that happened, and then I was like taking a flight back to the West. It was just horrendous. And then what was crazy about that, Nikki is who replaced me.
Right.
So I was like, is this a storyline? Like, what is going on? Like, this does not even seem like real.
Like we just talked about, we just had that viral moment of you like having a wardrobe malfunction, but you almost actually have wardrobe malfunction on Raw.
Dude. This was wild. This one was so crazy.
Like checking.
Yeah. That's when I was like, what the f-? As soon as we went live and we went to PG, right? We all got told, because there had been previous, like, you know, little nip slips from the girls. Right. Like, how could there not be? You're literally wrestling in a damn bikini. Right. So you're supposed to wear like little like pasties, and then you're supposed to tape like literally everything. Thank goodness, because in this specific one, I'm all taped up. So even if a worst case scenario, we would have still been all good. But you see me on like the apron, like, did this fucking bitch really pop? Like, damn.
Is nobody gonna like help me
out? I literally was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I remember when I came back, John Cena happened to be there that day, and he was like, way to go, kid. Like, way to basically not up and like basically flash the whole entire stadium.
Back to that SmackDown time, there was this rampant rumor going around that time, and people talk about it still to this day.
What?
This photo leaked. Now, the rumor was that you were supposed to be the first ever inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion. Have you heard of this rumor?
Yeah, I have. I have. I think that was wild, because I had heard that too. I had heard that I was going to actually get the title at SummerSlam. And that's also why it was probably like super devastating to me at that time too. So many things were going on. Yeah, I heard that as well. So you guys are not wrong.
You've never seen this physically?
I have not. That's pretty awesome.
Can someone like send it to her?
Yeah, please. That would be amazing.
You remember that one iconic promo? Summer Rae is a piece of dog poop.
Oh my gosh, no.
Wait, do you not remember that?
Did I say that?
Yes.
Summer Rae, she is a piece of dog poop.
Stop. Really? I'm dead. I need to like look at
so iconic.
Wait, was it in
SmackDown?
Stop it right now. I said Summer Rae is a piece of dog poop.
Summer Rae is a piece of dog poop.
I am dead. That is hilarious. I don't remember that one.
I gotta find the video.
Oh my God. Yeah. I need to find that video.
Let's talk about your return in 2021.
Yeah.
Why pink?
So I think initially when the talks of me coming back, I want to say I think I transitioned already from purple because I did purple. I had purple hair when I filmed the show Paradise City, and I'm pretty sure that I had the pink hair when our initial conversations had started with WWE. Do I go back to red or do I stay pink? WWE really didn't per se care too much. They didn't really kind of chime in on which they preferred. But I felt like red, I had done that and I had already kind of did that era. And plus I was in with the rest of the girls like Total Divas. And so I kind of felt like pink was still kind of in that ballpark, but like a little bit different.
I did hear also red was staining everywhere.
Literally, that's how. So all Red Everything was a joke. Everything was turning red. So like when I would shower, like hotels and things, it would look like a crime scene. Or like pillows.
Yeah.
Towels, everything was stained. If I wore like a white shirt and my hair was down, or like I had to have my hair on like the side of my shirt, all red. So all red, everything was like
pink's more manageable.
Oh yeah, pink does not. I was shocked. I thought it was gonna basically be as the same.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe I was using the wrong dye or something.
Maybe this is a more sustainable option.
Yeah, I guess so.
I love it. And also, who chose Doudrop name? Who did this?
Vince.
Vince. Okay.
Like that's the only. No way would she ever in a million pick that. I love her to death too. She's amazing and was so fun to work with as well, and was such a good sport throughout. Like our storyline was crazy. It was like that's another thing too. Is like when I was coming back, that storyline was totally different. You know, that's just kind of how things go.
But you knew you'd be working with
Yes.
Piper. Okay.
Yes, but I definitely, it was not supposed to, one, end that quickly, and two, it was like me and her against everybody. So like I was basically supposed to be her mentor per se, but like which would piss people off anyways. Obviously it worked wonders there. Definitely we're supposed to run a lot longer than we did.
And I was watching videos on your YouTube channel because there's so many fun videos, reaction videos and everything. You said you were not supposed to wrestle as much?
Not at all.
But then you ended up having one-on-one matches SummerSlam.
Yeah, I know.
Which is
so,
like...
First, like, that's why I am grateful for the way that I just came into the business, because I feel like it really prepared me for everything, like, going forward, because my first movie I ever did was like a piece of cake, because you have your own trailer and you legally can't come back to set like for 12 hours. And it's like you can, if you mess up, like you can go again. Like WWE, it don't work like that. Initially, that's how the kind of me coming back as this like, you know, like almost just a mouthpiece. So I basically would be putting her over all the time, but also being like kind of like condescending as well. And where eventually it would lead into like her telling me to like kick rocks, right? And then then the audience getting that like payoff. That's initially kind of like how that was supposed to roll, and I wasn't supposed to wrestle like at all. Like maybe do very much like minimal work, kind of like Vicky.
Oh,
you know?
Oh my god.
So that's kind of like how it was. Yeah. And then all of a sudden now I'm like getting, once again I'm like, wait, what's happening here? So that was like a little bit of a curveball, but you just gotta roll with what is given to you.
It's wild because you got the singles match in a freaking Big Four.
Dude, I literally was like, what is happening? The crazy thing with that is, even for that match and with Alexa, she's amazing and she's fantastic, and I love her character and the work that she's done, and it was fun to actually work with her too, because it was like creepy and weird and awesome. But we literally did that match and put it together like the day of, and like really right before heading out, which was wild too. Yeah, things are crazy in WWE.
It's really crazy. It's so interesting how you get these opportunities, because it's like it just happened to you, but then that's also a spot that like wrestlers would kill to get the singles match at SummerSlam. So we all remember that best selling of your career, that Shayna Baszler injuring your arm. That was such a good moment. But then after that, you were gone from WWE.
I know.
Was it to film a movie?
That I was filming a movie.
Right?
Yes, I was. You were right. Hence why like Shayna put me out so I could go film, and then never came back from it. Damn you, Shayna.
Dang you.
My biggest thing is like, I wish I had like one run, you know? And I'm so grateful for all the moments that I've had.
Championship?
Or something. You know? That's what I mean, initially that's where we were supposed to go. Is for that. So that's why it was like so crazy how things got shifted on a dime. Like I said, that's kind of how WWE is. Little moments like that are so important to me, because, and Shayna was awesome during that, because one, her character especially, like, if I don't sell that, it takes away from her. Like, it's a dance. That's your dance partner.
Right.
So, like, I was on her, like, okay, break this shit down for me so I can sell this bitch. All right? Okay? Like, sweet. And then it came off, like, so good that she's mad that she actually didn't do it again because the crowd wanted, like, was giving her the, you know how you can play off the crowd, right?
Right,
like,
right,
on,
right.
like, kind of what they kind of want.
Yeah,
And they wanted her to give it to me
One
again.
more time.
One more time. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that was fun.
But outside of WWE, you've been killing it. So again, we were in this podcast studio, the Hopeaholics.
Yeah.
And this is a podcast about sobriety. On top of that, we've been just talking about this right before filming. You have a big recovery center?
Yes,
that's
my
opening
first.
up?
Yep, my first treatment facility, NEM Recovery Centers, is going to be opening up at the end of this month. It's in Laguna Beach. It's detox and residential. So, like, the podcast, the Hopeaholics, you know, I always say, like, even with WWE and where my career kind of started, God put me in the right place at the right time, at the right moment for myself. So, like, on season 1, and I had no idea at that time that it was basically laying the foundation to what I am doing today.
Right.
Season 1, I made a conscious decision talking to Jonathan and my family, like, you know, I'm going to come public with the girls and on the show about my sobriety and me working a 12-step program just because it is a reality show. I didn't want to walk into the locker room one day and all of a sudden have to backtrack on my story of, like, here's my mugshot and, like, me trying to, like, and be, you know, I'd already been embarrassed and trying to live a double life of, like, didn't want people to know about my recovery and sobriety. So season 1 was, like, a really big opening of just my true self, because it's like I've really learned that if you are vulnerable and you just, like, put it out there, like, essentially this is me and this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm trying to progress and get better. What are you gonna say? Like, how are you gonna say? I've already said I put all my shit out on the street. What you got? It's like the Eminem song, you know. He rapped about all his shit, and then the homeboy had nothing to say,
right?
Because I already said it. That initially opened up so many doors, from, like, people reaching out telling me thank you, which I was like, what? This is wild. Either they had a parent or themselves or a sibling or a spouse, etc., that struggled with addiction or alcoholism. And so a year and a half ago, I actually came on this podcast just to share my story about sobriety and, like, kind of my journey. Started talking about business, and it aligned with everything. I wrote it down in a journal literally, like, 10 years ago.
That and you guys clicked, like, right away.
I
thought you were, like, been with them for, like, a long time.
Not at all. That was the first, like, me on their podcast. If you go back to watch our episode, when I first came as a guest, it's like we'd known each other forever. And I had literally just walked in the door. And then from there, all of a sudden, you know, it just aligned, and I partnered with the Infinity Group and became a third host of the Hopeaholics, and then opening up the first my first treatment underneath the Infinity umbrella. And it's something that it's like I'm really proud of the fact, because now I look at it like my superpower. You know, like, yes, I work on this on a day-to-day basis. My sobriety is always, like, number one. God in my sobriety is number one, for sure, because if without it, you know, I wouldn't be able to sit and talk to you or do really anything in my life, because I usually burn those things into the ground. And now it's just, like, really using the platform that God gave me and giving people hope and letting them know that they are not alone. Like, if they're struggling, especially with addiction or anything like mental health, whatever, it's like there's no shame in asking for help. There's shame in staying the same, because what that does is you're not living to the fullest potential that you can. And also, it's a spilling effect. Like, you affect others, your family, your friends. If you're in this, like, darkness, that is affecting others without you knowing, with you knowing or without you knowing, you know? Now, fast forward to where I am today, it's like, holy smokes, like, it's crazy to me.
You know, it's really heartwarming to see that you revealing about your sobriety on Total Divas and reality shows. It could be a storyline. But you're working on this. You're, like, spreading this message to everyone.
Well, it's really surreal, because I didn't know it at the time when I came out publicly with it, because really all I was doing that was just to save me the shame of having to, like, try to pick my story and take back that narrative.
Right.
I just wanted to have the narrative myself. And what's really crazy and why I am like, oh my goodness, like, God, thank you so much, is because when I got Total Divas, my first audition for the Diva Search, I was fresh out of rehab. I was like, because I had my first time with sobriety was at 23, and I put together a few years, and then thought that I had it all together and could run the show again. And clearly, me in the driver's seat ain't it. Run that bitch into the ground, relapsing and going to put myself into treatment, and then lo and behold, had this amazing gift. You have no idea what is ahead of you. You just have to hold on and dig in and keep pushing forward, because what if I didn't? What if I didn't stay sober? What if I did relapse or hold on? Then I would have never got the opportunity to go into the WWE and become a diva and then a superstar, and then to tell my story on Total Divas and to have that whole entire like experience. I just got certified to be a counselor and actually facilitate in my own facility. Like, that's what it's about, you know? That's where I'm like, wow, that's what was kind of God was setting me up to become and to do.
The timeline of it's always just wild. Yeah,
it is wild, because I'm like, could you make it a little bit quicker than a decade? That'd be amazing. You know, where podcasts are, where social media is, there's obviously cons to everything, but the pros are for people to talk about and hear other people, that they think that they aren't alone in whatever little battle that they're going through, because I'm Mexican Italian, so we didn't talk about this shit. And it's not, no blame on my parents. It was just like, that was just that generation.
Koreans are kind of like that too.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't put your shit out on the street, and you're like all buttoned up and all is well, which is fine and which is good, because there's a lot of strength in that also. However, you know, now with platforms and podcasts and things of that nature, then people can actually hear and know that help is available. Right. Also.
And you have a community of people supporting each other. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I have to ask you this, because
course.
Everyone's asking the wrestling return. Is that in the cards? Even Royal Rumble return.
So, because words mean a lot, and I feel like you can speak whatever you want into existence. Yes. And I love WWE. I'm very grateful to WWE. I love the WWE universe. I mean, I feel like you can't get enough of the evolution.
Never.
You know what I'm saying? And I would love to come back and stir things up. There's nothing better than going out there and ruffling some feathers. So, yeah, the possibility for sure is always a possible.
Imagine if Eva Marie comes out as number 30 in Royal Rumble. Imagine.
Shit would pop. It would be, oh my,
that would be so good.
Oh my God, people would lose it.
Well, Eva, thank you so much for this beautiful talk. And we really went through the entire career. And
you did. You're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
But what do you want to tell your fans? Supporting you from the start? What do you want to tell them?
I have to say that I absolutely love you guys. A lot of you, I try to respond to as many DMs as I possibly can, or emails or tweets or Facebook comments, but I really love you guys, even the ones that perhaps maybe don't love me also, because without you guys, you know, I wouldn't be able to do what I do today, and that's, you know, sitting and having an interview with you, being able to kind of be a voice for the voiceless that are struggling out there, and your encouragement and your support means more to me than I think that you will ever know. And so I appreciate each and every one of you for rocking with me from the day one, from like back in the day to even brand new ones that are hopping on board right now. Even though you might not hear it all the time from people that you do support, it truly does mean a lot to us that you guys pay attention to what we're doing and are invested and interested in it. So I love you guys, and thank you.